Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. It's Tony here with another episode of TCTV. Now, I'm sure you've been paying attention, but if you haven't, this week sees the 20th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog. So I'm just going to give a real quick, brief run through. This is in no way going to be a complete history of the Sonic or the Sonic games. I'm just going to give a quick, brief history about the series, about where it came from and where it's going to be going. So we're looking first at Sonic 1. So it was released this time in 1991, June the 23rd to be precise. And I remember it well. As a little nipper, I used to bunk off school, pop down to my local Virgin Megastore where they had some Mega Drive demo kiosks down there. And when Sonic the Hedgehog came out, I was down there. I think I bunked off for about a week. Every single day I was down there playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and I think I actually went through and clocked it. And the thing is with Sonic at the time, why it was so mind-bending was just simply down to the speed, the actual pace that the game was going at. You know, I'm sure you'll agree with me that there was just nothing like it at the time. Of course, we had platform games like Mario, Wonder Boy, all these other ones, but nothing moved at the pace that Sonic did. And kind of couple that with some great physics. You know, Sonic had a real feeling of inertia behind him, and some great levels, especially some of the levels later on, such as the underwater stages where you've got to like breathe through the bubbles, and the industrial zones. It really was just a fantastic thing. Nothing had been seen like it at the time. Later than that, November the 24th, 1992 to be specific, Sonic 2 was released. Now, it was released on Sonic Tuesday. That was the big kind of hook at the time. And it went on to be, I believe, the second biggest selling Mega Drive game of all time. The figures are somewhere near 6.5 million copies. Now, if you think for 1992, that's an incredible amount of games to be shifting. 6.5 million copies. I mean, most games today would be happy to do that, and you know, there's millions and millions of consoles out there at the moment. It was a brilliant game. They basically just took everything that was good with Sonic 1, such as the speed, the pace, the level design, and just expanded on it. But of course, the big hook with this one was the two-player compatibility. You could go through it on your own and the computer would take the part of Tails, or you could go through it with a mate in split screen and play through it together there. And I think there were kind of some certain racing modes and things like that that you could do, which again was a real kind of good addition for the Sonic series at the start. And I think it was the first Sonic game that had the 3D special stages in it. From what I can remember, if you collected like 50 rings through the level, you blaze your way all the way through to the end, and as long as you go through with that many, there's a kind of set of twinkly red stars that if you jump into, it transports you to a 3D, and it was true 3D at the time, so again, that was fantastic. Sonic 2, again, amazing game. My personal favourite out of the first three Sonic games was Sonic 3. I absolutely loved the game. I mean, it had the lovely rendered intro that we can see here, but the game itself was just it was just a bit more, I don't know, a bit more well thought out. I can remember thinking at the time it was almost the game that the first Sonic should have been, really. And the reasons for this was you could play on your own. You could just play as Sonic. You could also play as Tails. You know, you could get to pick the other characters, or you can also go through as a team. So again, here, you know, the computer's taking control of Tails, so it just makes it a slightly more traditional game. But they kind of souped up the graphics a little bit. You know, the characters and the enemies were a lot more well thought out, well drawn. The levels were a lot bigger. There's always been multiple paths throughout the Sonic games, but in Sonic 3 there were even more. There was loads and loads of different routes that you could take through the game, and kind of coupled in with that, there were a lot more bosses, than the other games. There seemed to be kind of like boss fights almost every stage, really, in this, and not necessarily boss fights, just things kind of coming in and interrupting, just as we're seeing on the screen here. You know, you start off in the lovely tropical jungle, this thing comes down, nukes the shit out of everything, and then you carry on playing through a fiery level. It was a really good touch, and it seemed to move a lot faster. It was going at a lot more of a faster pace as well. So out of the kind of original Sonic games, Sonic 3 is still my favourite. From Sonic 3 we move on to Sonic and Knuckles, which was, it's kind of coupled in with Sonic 3 to be honest with you, because essentially it's exactly the same game. That just due to time constraints and costs to do with the cartridge, they just got this game and split it completely in two, one half Sonic 3, one half Sonic and Knuckles. But the revolutionary thing about this was the cartridge. It came with a cartridge where you could plug Sonic 2, Sonic 3 into the top and you could expand your levels, and it also let you play like as Knuckles in Sonic 3 and as Tails in Sonic and Knuckles as well, and there was also something to do with the saves. You could use the different saves from the game. So for the actual cartridge technology itself, again, no other system did it. I think some old MSX games or something like that did it, but essentially those were the last real true Sonic games. And then what we started to get into was, if I'm going to tell you the truth, crap. I mean, it was just kind of shovelware. It was the start of Sonic just being chucked into games such as like the pinball games. They had Sonic Blast 3D, which was okay, you know, nice graphics for like an isometric game, but the controls were just absolutely terrible. Trying to jump on something in the 3D pace was bad, and for me, this is where Sonic just started to go downhill. You know, they were putting him in 3D games. You know, it kind of went on to like the games on the Saturn. They had Sonic R on the Saturn, which was kind of okay, the Sonic racing game. You know, it stayed true to the Sonic roots. But then, you know, kind of as the technology was catching up, I think people kind of lost what was the essence of kind of like Sonic, which was, you know, just pure blinding speed, platforming. You know, just because he's a mascot, it doesn't mean you have to chuck him into every single genre. I mean, I know you could say exactly the same about Mario, which Nintendo have done. You know, I'm surprised he hasn't turned up as a secret fighter in bloody Soul Calibur or something. But they just kind of lost it, and still to this day, you know, they still haven't really done it. You had the Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast, which was okay, but looking back on it now, it hasn't really aged well. The running sections were good, and you know, if you just look down the list of really, really bad games, you know, you had like Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Riders, Sonic and the Black Knight, as we can see here, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. I mean, why the hell Sonic's in a car? I mean, it just begs, why isn't he just running? I mean, I know he hasn't got the added protection of being in a metal shell or whatever, but you know, you take an iconic character who's known for his fast pace and running, and what do? Stick him in a car? It just, it's the whole same thing with like Sonic and the Black Knight, giving him weapons and letting him kiss human beings and all this kind of thing. The Sonic games have just been completely and utterly off my radar. But the thing is, with this 20th anniversary of Sonic, it's all going to kind of change, and the reason why it's going to change is going to be coming up right now. Yes, indeed. It's Sonic Generations, the brand new Sonic game that's coming out. There's actually a demo available on Xbox Live as we speak. It's only up there for something like 20 days. So if you want to go and check it out, I suggest you go and download that now. I'm sure it's probably on PSN as well, but I haven't had the chance to check that as of yet. Now, Sonic Generations, there's this whole big thing about Sonic and the Sonic games. All fans have been crying out for years, like, you know, we need to take Sonic back to its roots. And we've had some good 2D games on the DS. You know, we've had the Sonic games released on PSN and XBLA, which have been fine. You know, you can get them on the Sega Collection and all this kind of thing. And what they've done, they've gone back to kind of like the essence of Sonic. So I mean, as you can see, they've got the title screen right, if you like. The graphics are absolutely staggering. I mean, just look at it. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's very fast. I mean, literally too fast in places, and my eyes cannot keep up with it. But this is the whole kind of point that I've come through. You know, we've gone through all the years of Sonic. He's been around for 20 odd years now, and there's a couple of questions just be asked, you know, about going back to Sonic's roots. I mean, is it something that we really should be going back for? I mean, I know we're crying out for a really good 2D Sonic game and everything like this, but has it just been too long? Have games moved? Have we moved on since then? I mean, playing through this demo, it's kind of exactly the same as Sonic, which you may see as a good thing or a bad thing. It's just hold down right, press your jump button every now and again, and it just moves at such a blistering pace that you can't really soak anything up, which was true of the first game as it's true with this one. Now it's playable, it's good, but it's just not really enthralling me. And there's the same thing again. They've shoehorned two different versions of Sonic in there. There's the classic one as you see now, and then there's the kind of modern day taller, slimmer Sonic, which, you know, from the look of the demo, some of the new Sonic levels are going to be more in 3D, like you're racing into the screen. Now I'm just thinking, is it a bit too much, too little too late? You know, has Sonic kind of had his day? You know, are you looking forward to playing the Sonic Generations? Did you enjoy the demo? You know, did you think it was rubbish? You know, I mean, essentially, if this game isn't going to do it for you as a Sonic fan, what would? What would you actually have for a Sonic game? If all of this, basically, they've just gone back and remade the first game with fantastic graphics, faster than anything you've ever seen, is that enough for a Sonic fan? Or, you know, are you looking for more? So I'm just going to leave with those few questions. Obviously, we could make a 4-hour video about the history of Sonic, but you know, I've just tried to condense it into a nice big quick thing leading up to kind of the Sonic Generations demo. So go ahead, download it, check it out. Please leave us and here at Thumb Culture all of your comments. We really appreciate them. You know, if you agree with me, if you disagree, what would you want to see from a new Sonic game? You know, this is the final question I'm going to leave you with. Is Sonic Generations giving you everything that you wanted as a Sonic fan, or is it leaving you for more? So guys, this is Tony. Thanks for tuning in again to TCTV. I will see you again next week, and you guys have a fantastic weekend.